The Greater Houston Women's Chamber of Commerce and Houston Public Media present Breakthrough Women. Breakthrough Women is made possible by ExonMobil.
We've all got to learn how to more effectively engage with people who think differently, people who present ideas differently. Sometimes that's the women, but it could be anybody. Anybody who brings their own unique perspective, life background, language skills, way of thinking. So as we move towards what was sort of a fairly monotonic culture into this diverse culture, all of us need to learn how to be more inclusive, not just for the women, but for all the unique individuals that are joining that culture.
To me, it's more like finding your passion, what you want to do. And it's not a male industry or female industry. It's about what you want to be doing. So to me, in reference to the field I'm in, it is a male-dominated industry, but I don't look at that as a challenge. I took that as an opportunity, actually, because it's a niche that has a need, and so I'm there to fill it.
I think there's always challenges in any field, whether it be gender or what have you. When I started Associated Video in 1992, I was the first female-owned legal video company in Houston. First of all, the equipment. It's a lot of equipment, and just to carry it was hard for me. I went in and, I was like a woman packer. I went in and created my own case and condensed everything and had to research, equipment and just to get the smallest and lightest for me, and just made it work.
When we first opened our store, it was almost embarrassing to say that I owned a pawn shop. People would kind of look out of the side of their eyes and say, "You do what? Surely your husband does it. You're not involved in it, are you?" And I was like, "Yes, I'm there every day." But reality shows like Pawn Stars have really helped the public perception of our business. And so now it's cool to work in a pawn shop, and it's a great place to be.
Women see things through a different lens, men see things through a different lens. It's where you were raised, how you grew up, and I think having a nice balance of men and women creates better outcomes for whatever it is you're working on, whether it's a business outcome or a nonprofit outcome. The diversity brings creativity and a better outcome.
I think opportunities are there for women, but you have to grab it. You have to go after it. It's not like they're going to just hand you stuff and expect you to just show up. You've got to go in there and actually, fight for having the great jobs, fight for it's fun. So you just go out there and do it. As far as oil and gas industry itself, you think of that as a very dirty world. You get your fingers dirty, you're out in the field. Many of them come up from the field. Most women aren't attracted to that. Is it a barrier? No. Do you have to work harder? Perhaps. But I think you have to work harder if you want to get ahead, if you want the corner office, no matter what job you're in, whether it's in teaching, banking, or oil and gas.
When Mayor Nese Parker appointed me to the role of Director for the Office of Business Opportunity, we had a lengthy conversation about some of the challenges that the Houston business faced as it related to city contracting. There was a court order in 2009 where women were removed from the program. Now the judge found that the city didn't actually need to include women because they had reached parity. And the impact of removing women from the program, it reduced their participation in city contracting by more than 50%. One of the things that I was charged with was figuring out what we needed to do, what analysis we needed to do to bring women back into the program and building consensus around that issue. And we did that in 2012.
I would say be authentic, be yourself. When I started work, somebody told me as a woman entering this male-dominated industry, there are 3 things you have to do. You have to, act like a man, work like a dog, dress like a lady. We have the opportunity to just be ourselves and not try to behave like anybody else. Obviously, we can all learn from experienced folks in our industry, men and women, but it's most important that we are true to ourselves and be authentic.
I think one of the smartest pieces of advice was don't think that you can do everything alone or by yourself. That's in some ways a little short-sighted. You don't know everything. You can't anticipate everything. You haven't had all the relevant experiences. Also, if you bring other people into the experience, they learn from it, they add to it, you get a better total solution. So when you're coming out of school, you've succeeded on your own mostly, and so you're more used to that kind of a contribution. But when you get into the office environment, it's much more about working together.
I'm a stickler for excellence and integrity. I think it's our core values within the airport system is for us to have relationships and for us to be innovative and for us to have excellence and to have service, to be of service. So I would tell anyone who's coming into the field of community relations or governmental affairs that you have to be a person who wants to be a servant leader, that you have to want to care about your fellow man or care about the community at large. If you don't have that kind of spirit, or if you don't have that compassion for for another human being or for the community, you won't last.
Factors that have helped me be successful in my careers are number one, a strong family unit, parents that valued education, who believed in me, who encouraged me to achieve my goals. And then seeking education, I do hold a bachelor's, 2 masters, and a doctorate, and along the way there I met a lot of very wise people. And then just having the good fortune to deal with very ethical, impressive, bright people. I try to always be around smarter people because I learn from them.
The advice I would give to women entering my field or any field is just customer service, customer service, customer service. You need to think out of the box. You need to think ahead. Think about what your client needs. What can help him get his job done easier? What can help him at trial? What can help him with whatever aspect of his job that he's doing?
Sometimes I see people who want to advance very quickly, and my advice to them is you don't want to skip a step. Just like you don't want to go from being a 3rd grader to an 8th grader. There's work to be done, and you have to learn and experience that, because then you have a stronger foundation to stand on when you take on those larger and larger responsibilities.
You know, there are days I'm a very good mother and there are days I'm a very good employee, but rarely both on the same day. And I think that's the case. You have to figure out how to balance what's required at home, what's required at work.
I've been really fortunate. My husband and I have known each other since high school, so we really support each other a lot. So I really couldn't do it without him. And we really just share a lot. We share responsibilities. We're very honest with each other about what we can and can't do, where we can or can't be. And so we've got a real good effort as a partnership.
I've probably learned more from my daughter than I've learned from almost anybody out there. I've learned how to manage better. I've learned time management skills. I've learned how to ask. I've learned how to ask for help. I've learned how to delegate. Not that I didn't know how to do that before, but it's had a whole different focus right now.
When I was first starting to have a family, I will never forget the day I sat outside of the daycare center crying, wondering if it was the right decision to leave my child there. Throughout the years that my children were young, I worried, was this the right choice? Was this the right choice for them? And when I look back at the choice I made, I can appreciate that it wasn't just the right choice for me, it was the right choice for them.
The quote in my high school yearbook was, "If you can't win the race, make the one ahead of you break the record." And in my younger days, when we first had our store, I would sign up for everything, volunteer far too much, and feel like I had all these things I had to do and that I couldn't get any of them done very well. And then a great friend taught me that I was never going to get all of it done, and I shouldn't expect to get all of it done, and that it's okay if I didn't get all of it done. And that really relieved a lot of anxiety for me. So now I choose specific projects, and I choose just a few. I do them very well, and when I run the race, I run it to win it.
You know, we're all very blessed with the things we have in our life. I feel, you know, all of us at ExxonMobil spend a lot of time doing community volunteering and trying to give back in some way. If you're lucky enough to be raising children and you're in a category where you're quite well off, it's also really good to have the kids see circumstances that are less fortunate than their own, and then all of a sudden that burning need for that PlayStation or that you know, new phone may not be quite as front of their minds as it was when you started.
My parents are both from East Texas, and my father was actually going to college and stopped going to college to send my mother's sisters to college, and he actually didn't get his degree until I got mine. So we just believe in empowering our family first, because charity begins at home. And then we always empowered others. So if someone had a dilemma or a crisis, a situation, they always knew they could come to the Crawford home. So it's just in my nature. It's just what I did. It's what I did.
Anne Marie Hendrickson was extremely, she was someone who gave me honest feedback. But what I learned from her is that hard work really can take you the distance. And hard work doesn't mean that you give up, you give up everything. It just means that you know your job, and you step out of the boundaries.
My parents, especially my father, he was my mentor, my role model. I came to the United States when I was 13 and I didn't know English, so it was all new. So I would say to my dad, I can't do this, this is hard. And he taught me to work hard for my goals, and he would say to me, nothing is impossible, everything is possible. Look up, the sky is the limit. So that's been my mantra ever since, nothing is impossible.
There are two areas that come to mind that really need attention. The first one would be the fact that women account for 52% of the workforce in the United States, yet only 14% of the executive jobs of our Fortune 500 companies are held the top position by a woman. And the research finds that businesses that promote gender equality generally enjoy a much better bottom line than those that don't.
Right now, I serve 2,300 businesses through the city's Supplier Diversity Program, and we're constantly trying to increase that. We also serve an additional 1,000 businesses through the Hire Houston First program, and so I'm constantly engaging with businesses through, either it's the Greater Women's Chamber of Commerce or other chambers of commerce. The city has awarded almost $1 billion, and I'm sure we'll celebrate that shortly, in contracts awarded to minority and women and small businesses throughout the city. It puts us in the forefront for bringing other businesses here or bringing people here, and so that's been something that's been very exciting.
I feel that we need to celebrate the accomplishments of women, because it wasn't that long ago that a woman could not sign a contract. Her husband had to sign the contract for them for their business, and thank goodness that's not the case today. And so for all of the women that were pawnbrokers who came before me, who worked in the back, who never got to come out front or have any type of recognition, I gratefully accept this recognition on their behalf.
Everybody has a passion in something, so just find that niche, that need, as I did in the waste removal industry. I was told many times, why are you going to do waste? That's not a really female thing, it's not feminine at all. And to me, it's not about, being feminine, it's what you like, your passion. So working with clients, with people, providing service and doing something for your community, it makes me feel so good when I am able to, make changes in my community, providing jobs, creating jobs.
The advice I would give for any girl, lady, woman, whatever age you are, is go for what you want. You can do it. If you want to do it, you can make it happen. You just have to, nobody's going to do it for you. You have to get out there and make it happen. And do it. Don't be a what if, what could have been, I wish I shoulda, coulda. Get out there and make it happen.
Do your best in every task and always go prepared. Be a team player. And thank those people that frequently help you accomplish your objectives. Persevere, never give up, and always go to work with a positive attitude and good energy. And remember that quote, a bad attitude is like a flat tire. You are not going anywhere until you change it.
As a woman in the workforce, throughout the years, I have found that every day I suit up. I put on my armor. Now that could be blue jeans and a nice shirt if I'm going in the field. It could be casual. It just depends on what you got planned for the day. But I always dress for war every day. So always feel good and dress good. You don't have to spend a lot of money to make yourself feel good and dress good, but always dress for war.
Continually learn. You never get smart enough not to pick up a book. You can learn from a child, you can learn from your neighbor. Just keep your mind open and continue to learn, because as you continue to learn, you live. And if you stop learning, I feel like you stop living.
You know, we're only here for a season and for a time, and we need to make a difference. Somehow, some way, we need to make a difference for our future generations. At NRG and Reliant, I'm passionate about building a company that we can leave to future generations, and so little kids like me growing up in Houston back so many years ago, they can actually have this company that's based here that they can come and learn and grow, and they don't have to go to Silicon Valley to get that or to the Northeast to get that. They can get that right here in Houston.
We have a really serious challenge in that there are not enough women are choosing to go into careers with science, engineering, technology, and mathematics. And I wonder if sometimes these young girls think, oh my gosh, there's no way I would choose a career where I have to continue to doing pages and pages of equations. I don't want to do them all day. And the fact is, we all go to work every day and we're trying to figure things out. What would it take? You know, how did that happen? How could I do that faster? How could I do that better? And so it's like solving problems, solving puzzles. And so it's actually just so much fun. And I think a lot of people don't realize that about science or mathematics careers. They're just loads of fun.
I'll share with you the greatest piece of advice that my father gave to me. My father, when I was about that age, he told me that I could do anything that I wanted to do. And that was fantastic. To be honest, at that point in time, most of the women that I had encountered fit within 3 careers. They were nurses, they were teachers, or they were secretaries, which is what my mom did, and that was fantastic. But I never thought that there were choices beyond those 3 opportunities. And my dad told me to do whatever I wanted to do. Any of those 3 would be great, but if I wanted to do something else, I could as well. So my advice to you would be to encourage your daughters to do whatever they want to do.